Alright, welcome back, and we're here to talk some more about strings. This lecture, I hope that it's shorter than the previous one, because what I aim to do in this one is just to show you what all you can do with strings and how you can do it. It isn't going to be very conceptually heavy like the previous one was, but if you want to follow up this lecture, follow up what we discuss over here, I'm going to leave some very helpful resources in the course notes. So what we're discussing today discussing in this video are called string methods. So just to clarify, we will be getting a lot more into detail with this. So the difference between a method and a function. So a method is called like this. So I have string, I still have my supercalifragilistic. How I call a method is like this: string dot upper. And you'll see what upper does. It turns it all into uppercase. My original string is left unchanged, but string.upper just turned a string to uppercase and printed that out. So this is how you call a method. This is some new syntax. You basically follow your object that you want to call it on. So like print was a function. In print I pass my string in. So I pass my string in and it'll print it out. But for a method, I have to do this dot and then follow it by the name of the method, followed by parentheses. And if these parentheses take arguments, which some of the methods will, then we'll pass those in too. But upper does not take any arguments. So this just prints out string.upper. So that's a good segue into a bunch of these methods that string has. So string has the upper method that you just saw. I have string.upper. I have string, so if I do upper string equals string dot upper, now this uppercase supercalifragilistic is going to be stored inside a variable upper string. So let's take a look at upper string. Now if I were to call upper string dot lower, it's just going to turn everything into lowercase. Alright, so those are two methods. Then there's another method. So for example, on string I'll call is upper. So like this is like asking question, is this uppercase or is this not uppercase? And it'll return me false. So it returned a boolean. And if I say upper string dot is upper, so I'm like asking a question on to upper string, are you upper? Returns true. In a similar way, if I say upper string dot lower dot is lower, are you lower? It'll return false. And my original string dot is lower, that is true. So that's 4 methods down, and you've seen these are pretty simple methods and what they do. The is ones, they're like asking questions, and what you get is an answer. So is it true or is it false? These are the ones that are actually manipulating the string. Is it turning into lowercase? Is it turning it into uppercase? So another method, another one of these question type methods. So is x is decimal. So string dot is decimal, and what this means is that is this string entirely numbers? String dot is decimal? No. But for example, this string 456, this is not a number. I cannot do arithmetic on it. I cannot do 456 plus 1. It'll give me a type error and it will not return 457. So 456 is a string. Now I can check if this is decimal. Is this all numbers? True, because it is all numbers. And then if I want to check if both of the things are in there, so I have a 4 and 5 and 6. I should be putting spaces there, but it doesn't matter. 4 and 5 and 6 dot is al, so that's alphabet, and num, that's alphabet and number, alphanumeric. This will return a false because of the white spaces in between. But if I have 4 and 5 and 6 dot is al num, I made a mistake. Let's see what this gives. this gives a true, because this had white spaces in it which are not counted in alphanumerics, but this only had alphabets and numbers which are counted in alphanumerics. If you want to check for just alphabets, so 456 dot is alpha. Is it an alphabet? This returns a false, but string dot is alpha will return a true, because that was in fact all alphabets. There's a bunch more methods. So let's say string dot, does this string start with an S? So starts with, and now we're going to pass in an argument to this method. So string dot starts with, does it starts with an S? I have to pass my argument as a string as well, because if I were to pass it just like that, I haven't defined what S is. So I have to pass my argument as string. That is true. String dot starts with, does it start with a W? Oh, I have made a typo. String dot starts with a W? No, it does not. So string dot ends with, that's a very similar method. Does it end with an S? Yes, it does. Does it end with an R? No, it does not. So those are some more methods, and now there's a bunch of methods left. So these were again question answer methods. They were returning booleans, they were returning true and false, and there's a lot of uses with this that we'll get into in the next section. But now there's 3 more methods that I want to leave you off with, and those are methods you can use to manipulate your strings. So one of these is called join, one of these is called split. So let's discuss these two first. What join does is that the string that you call it on, okay, I'll show it to you with an example. So let's say I wanna have a string, and it looks like this, and I call the join method on it, and inside join I pass a list. Oh yeah, so this is how you define a list. So I have a list of Ben, Sabir and Sarah. So if I do this, I run this, it took the elements of this list. So this is how I define a list with square brackets, and these are the elements of this list. So a string by the value of Ben, a string by the value of Sabir, a string by the value of Sarah. So it's going to take each of these elements of this list, and it's going to join this into a string which is separated by a comma and space. That's the join method. So I can join by a dash dot join, and I can pass in today's day, Monday. I can pass in the time, 12 p.m. Let's run this. It joined Monday with 12 p.m. and separated them by a dash. Split basically does the opposite. So if I take this very string, I do this, I call split on it, and now what I pass into split is the character I want to split it over. So I want to split it over a space dash space. What that's going to do is that's going to return me everything before a space dash space and everything after a space dash space in the form of a list. If I leave split's argument empty, what I get is, so let's define a new string. My name is Sabir dot split, and I have not passed in any argument. What it's going to do is that it's going to split over the spaces. So it gives me a my, then it splits over the space name, splits over the space is, splits over the space Sabir. So if you don't pass an argument, it'll split over white space. If you do pass an argument, it'll split over that wherever it sees it. And even over here, let's do the Monday example again. Dot split. If I pass in just the dash without spaces, then the elements in the list that I get back has the space as well, because we're not splitting over that anymore, we're just splitting over the space dash. So as soon as it hits the dash, which happens after this space over here, that's when it's going to mark the first cut, and then it's going to mark the second cut right after this dash, which means it's going to leave this space untouched. So that's another manipulation. That's two other manipulation methods. These often go hand in hand when you want to convert one type of formatting into another. And the last method that I'm going to show you is called strip. So it's the strip method. What this does is that it basically strips white space from around a string. So if I have this string of gibberish, but there's a lot of white space around it, I can do strip. It's going to get rid of the white space. There it is. And I can do, and there's another, and white strips, and strip does take an argument. And what I can do with that is that I can have a string like this, dot strip, and yeah, you guessed it. If I pass in the asterisk, it's going to strip away the asterisks from the very end. If I have a string called ABC, 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 and my gibberish is in the middle, and then ABC, 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 I can strip the ABCs away. And it leaves me with my gibberish. An important thing to note is that it only removes the outermost bits. So if I have my ABCs again, but I have an ABC over here as well after my gibberish starts, and an ABC before my gibberish ends, and I try calling strip away the ABCs, it's not going to remove the ABCs that are in the middle. It's only going to remove the ABCs that are at the ends. So yeah, that's pretty much the most commonly used methods, and like I said, there's a whole bunch more that you can read about in the official Python documentation, or there's this book called Automate the Boring Stuff. So that's basically where I learned Python from. I'm going to leave a link to it. It's a free book, it's a free website that you can refer to for a whole bunch more examples on how to use these, a whole bunch more projects, and yeah, a whole bunch more methods for you to play around with. So that's been strings. Next up, we're looking at lists, which got spoiled a little bit over here. So yeah, we're looking at lists next. Thank you.